Hey everybody, so it's really nice outside, so I figured I'd sit in my backyard since it's nice and cool. The sun's going to be out for another hour, and figured I'd take the time here to relax and collect my thoughts on the USA Paraguay game yesterday. If you hear any noises in the background, I think there's some kids down the street that are having a birthday party, so yeah, just ignore. So, yesterday's game, especially in the second half, really almost gave me a heart attack. My blood pressure was so high, um, especially after DeAndre Yedlin's send off around the 50th minute. DeAndre Yedlin should not have gotten a yellow card the first time. He was right to be furious about it, but he lost his cool and he lost his temper, and it led to him getting a second yellow just 1 minute later. And honestly, he deserved the second yellow. He got sent off. USA was playing with 10 men, and we were really up against it at that point. We're against a Paraguay team that was desperate to stay alive in this competition, that needed 2 goals to survive. The United States playing with 10 men. We just had to bunker down in defense, and honestly, I have no idea how we survived the full second half without conceding at least once. This was a game that we only needed a tie to advance, but we got the early goal in the 27th minute with Clinton Dempsey after a wonderful strike, across from Giassi's artist. Clint punted it calmly, coolly into the back of the net, gave us the lead. Uh, we went to the halftime with 1-0 and 6 points in our pockets. I really don't know how Paraguay didn't get on the board yesterday. They had plenty of opportunities, and they were very dangerous on the counterattack. And John Brooks, a lot of people saying he should have been man of the match. I think it's close between him and Guzan. Somebody in my comment section thought that John Brooks deserved man of the match. I can totally see uh, why he should be awarded that. I personally went with Guzan because of the vital saves that he made throughout the game, particularly in the dying 10 to 15 minutes of the match, where Paraguay easily could have just leveled it. Um, but John Brooks had a fantastic match last night. He was like a man from another planet, and I mean, it took me a while after the result just to calm down and collect myself and realize what had just happened. The United States, after losing its opening game 2-0, wins its next 2 games, gets 6 out of 9 points, and wins its group. And I'll explain why, because of the Colombia-Costa Rica result later on. But this was a game against a very tough Paraguayan team that doesn't concede a lot of goals, that's doing moderately well right now in qualifying for the World Cup, that almost beat Brazil a couple of months ago at home. And this is a team that traditionally does pretty well in Copa Americas, especially in contemporary Copa Americas of the last 2 or 3 editions. They reached the final in 2011. They reached the semifinals last year in Chile. And they were really the favorite, along with Colombia, or at least one of them, to advance out of this group. But now they finished the bottom with 1 point. Did not see that happening. And the United States, in my opinion, exceeded expectations. Um, it was about 50-50 of people who thought they would get through the group, 50% who didn't think they were going to get through the group. As you know, in my pre-tournament predictions, I thought the U.S. was going to advance, but not with 2 wins. I thought it was going to be a 1-1-1 record with 4 points, a win, a tie, and a loss. But, 2 wins out of 3 is just awesome, especially coming behind, regrouping, not getting too discouraged, and losing our confidence from the opening game loss against Colombia 2-0. And we won the group, guys. And from a historical perspective, what it does for the image of the U.S. national team, this is very important, because it's good when you advance out of a tough group, but it looks even better when you win the group. Similar to how we did at the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, when we finished ahead on goal difference. No, not even goal difference. It was number of goals scored. I remember that. Ahead of England, Algeria, and Slovenia. So this was a game that our team went out. We wanted to go for the win. We got the win. We didn't even need the win. We could have easily just played defense the entire game, just have been content with the draw. But Jurgen Klinsmann and the team didn't do that. We treated it like it was an elimination game because it really was an elimination game for us. And we got the full points, and I'm just so elated. I didn't think we were going to beat Paraguay. I thought the match was going to end in a draw, like 1-1 or something. But not conceding against anybody ever since the Colombia game is really a sign that we have really compact, really strong, and organized defense. And if you look at the effort that the whole team put in yesterday to maintain that result, to keep it at 1-0 with the disadvantage of a man down, that took a lot of energy out of our players. We picked up a lot of yellow cards yesterday with Orozco, Bradley, Jermaine Jones, Yedlin getting sent off, and a couple of others who got a couple of yellows. I think even Guzan got a yellow card, I think. So that expended a lot of energy, but I'm pretty confident by the time the quarterfinals roll around, we'll be revitalized again. Hopefully we'll find a proper replacement for DeAndre Yedlin. So disappointed in him. I expected him to act more mature than that, but he's a young player. He still has a lot more experience that he needs to gain. So we still need him. So all these calls for him to never play again for the U.S., that's just stupid. That's just reactionary. We need DeAndre Yedlin. And, I'm just happy. I'm really happy, guys, that we made it through this group. And I'm proud of our team. And Costa Rica made it the icing on the cake later in the night, where they defeated Colombia 3-2 in what was an exhilarating, a very exciting match. I managed to catch most of it. Costa Rica took the early lead through a Venegas goal, which might have been his strike, might be the goal of the tournament. It was a fire rocket that just bolts to the back of the net. The goalkeeper can do nothing about it. A few minutes later, Fabra for Colombia levels it, and I think it was just before halftime that Colombia made an own goal, much to their own detriment, but all the more better for the United States, right? So this is a game that Colombia really let go of. They only needed a draw to win the group with 7 points. Only a draw. And I think what happened was Jose Pekerman, he sat James Rodriguez out. He played a lineup that was not necessarily too confident, too cocky, but he played a lineup that was meant to not take the game too seriously, that was meant to just do enough to get Colombia the point they needed to win the group. And it was mistakes on Jose Pekerman's fault, and he's actually very well known for this. His lineup decisions and his substitution decisions at the 2006 World Cup, a lot of people argue that cost Argentina from beating Germany, the hosts, and advancing to the semifinals. So Jose Pekerman has a history of being a good manager, but one where critical decisions count, he just gets it wrong and he makes really bad mistakes. And he brought James on in the second half, which was what he needed to do, but it wasn't enough. Marlos Moreno scored a fantastic goal. He was excellent in the second half, really pushing Colombia forward on the wings. He looked very dangerous, very, very fast player. And Costa Rica almost gave up a 3-1 lead to make it 3-3. I was watching the last 10 minutes of the game, and it felt like half an hour because I just wanted it to end. I just wanted the United States to just edge Colombia in first place. And Colombia let that game go. Costa Rica's a very good team, don't get me wrong, but there was no excuse for Colombia not to get at least a point last night. But Colombia showed some very striking defensive frailties. And it's a criticism that I've had of Colombia going back, which is that they're excellent going forward. But their weakness is they rely too much on the counterattack and on set pieces. Both goals against the United States came on set pieces. And one of their goals against Paraguay came on a set piece. And pretty much every other goal they made in this group that wasn't from a set piece was made through the counterattack. Now, there's nothing wrong if it gets results, but when you rely on it too much and you fail to score through direct play while leaving your defense exposed at the back, it's going to be enough to get you through a group, but it's not going to be enough to get you to win a tournament. So that's why I think the whole ranking of Colombia as third in the world. I think it's a little bit too high. Are they a top 10, top 15 team? Of course. But number three, no, they're not number three. So Costa Rica, credit to the Ticos for leaving the tournament with pride. They showed why last night they reached the quarterfinals of the World Cup. It was not a fluke. Oscar Ramirez got his lineup right, and Venegas scored probably what was the goal of the tournament so far, at least. And they really should have made it 4-2 when I think it was Brian Ruiz who I think had a diving header and it almost went in right when Colombia brought one back to make it 3-2. I don't remember which player it was. It might have been Ruiz. It might have been somebody else. But that would have sealed the game right there. But, of course, this is football. It always comes down to the wire, for the United States at least. And the results went our way just enough for the U.S. to win the group by 1 goal differential superiority. Scored 5 goals, conceded 2. That's +3. Colombia scored 6 goals, conceded 4. That's +2. We win the group, and we face the runner-up of Group B, which is going to be decided tonight. So let me just very quickly jump into Group B. Looking forward tonight. This is very interesting because the way that the points have already been allotted, we could see a 3-way tie tonight, 5-5-5 between Brazil, Peru, and Ecuador. Why? Because if Brazil and Peru tie each other, which is very possible with this current Brazilian team, they each end on 5 points, and Ecuador, who should take care of business against Haiti, they have 2 points. They get the 3 points, they up to 5 points. And then the 2 teams to advance the quarterfinals will be decided on goal differential, if all of that transpires. Now, I think it's safe to say Ecuador will beat Haiti tonight, barring any sort of catastrophe or a last-minute inspirational performance from the Haitians who want to go out on a high note and somehow eke out a draw or a win over at the Ecuadorians. But this is a game Ecuador cannot afford to lose. They have to win this group, and they have to win this game, and they probably have to score as many goals as they can if they want to win this group. I looked at the different simulations, different possibilities, and the United States actually only has 2 possible opponents in the quarterfinals, Brazil or Ecuador. There's 0 chance the United States will play Peru, and the reason why that's possible is because if Peru and Brazil tie, while Ecuador beats Haiti by more than 2-0, only 2-0, then Peru are out in 3rd place. But if Peru beats Brazil, which is possible, they win the group. And if they win the group, they avoid us in the quarterfinals. They avoid us in the quarterfinals, then we don't play them. So Peru actually is in a very interesting situation. They can only finish in 1st or 3rd tonight. They can't finish in 2nd. They can only either finish 1st or 3rd. So they're actually in the toughest position of any of the 3 teams tonight. Because if they get a draw against Brazil, which is a respectable result in and of itself, it most likely won't be enough. They have to go for the win tonight against Brazil. It's Brazil who can afford a draw more so than Peru. And the reason for this all comes back down to performances against Haiti. Peru only beat Haiti 1-0. Brazil beat Haiti 7-1. So you see the stark contrast in their goal difference, right? Brazil has 7 goals scored and 1 goal conceded from 2 games. That's +6. Peru have 3 goals scored and 2 conceded. That's only +1. So if they get a hard-fought draw against Brazil tonight, that's not going to be enough if Ecuador beats Haiti. And it's harsh. It's very harsh, but it's true. So Peru actually has more on the line tonight than Brazil does. They have to win this match to not just seal 1st place in the group, but to advance in general. And that really sucks for them. Brazil, a draw would most likely be enough for them to advance. Because, like I said, the goal difference. And but regardless, if there is a winner tonight between Brazil and Peru, meaning if it's not a draw, if one of the other wins, then that winner will win the group, no matter what the results of Ecuador versus Haiti. Doesn't matter if Ecuador beats Haiti 99-0. Whoever wins the game between Brazil, Peru will win the group, if there's a winner. But if they tie each other, then Ecuador has a chance to win the group if they beat Haiti by 6 goals or more. 6 goals or more. It's going to be fascinating to watch, guys. My predictions, I think Ecuador is going to beat Haiti. It's not going to be 6-0, though. The reason why it's important to get 6-0 is because if they win 6-0 while Brazil and Peru tie each other, Ecuador finishes ahead on goal difference, just barely ahead of Brazil. But I don't think Ecuador is going to score 6 goals against Haiti. I think Ecuador will probably win 4-0, maybe 5-0. But they could win by 6 goals. I mean, Haiti are not very good. But my predictions, Ecuador is going to beat Haiti, of course. And I think Brazil, Peru, I just think Brazil are going to pull it out. I don't know why. Peru has more at stake, and I think that's going to cause them to push forward and go for the win, and Brazil's just going to punish them on the counter. And Brazil's going to be more relaxed this game because they can afford a draw. So I think Brazil wins it like 2-1 or 1-0, maybe 2-1. And Ecuador beats Haiti, but not by enough to overcome Brazil. And I think Brazil will win the group with 7 points. Ecuador will come in second with 5 points. Peru will be eliminated with 4 points, and Haiti with 0 points. So Brazil and Ecuador, I think, will advance. So that's it. Let's go watch the games, guys. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Comment below, like, subscribe, share your opinion. What do you think is going to happen tonight? Who's going to win? Who's the United States going to play in the quarterfinals? What did you think of the game last night between USA, Paraguay, Costa Rica, Colombia? I'm so happy we won the group. Now, let's just look forward, get together, and let's try to do our best to make it to the semifinals, regardless who we face. So, as always, peace out. I'll talk to you tomorrow, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday and your work day if you have work tomorrow or whatever. So, peace out.